In politics, it is not what the politicians say, it is what they do that is terribly important. Because politicians are generally liars. At best, they twist the truth to mean something else. And so obviously, if you're going to rely on what they say, then you'll get it wrong most of the time. Now, at the funeral of the late Beryl Odinga, brother to the departed Raila Amolo Odinga, there are many things politicians did at that function that really open our eyes to exactly what is happening deep inside the ODM party. And very important, the likely outcome at the end of all this drama, when the dust settles, the very likely outcome and the people most likely to be left standing. Because this is a very serious political war, in case you didn't know. So serious that we can be sure there are going to be casualties. Many politicians will never, ever again see an elective post. They'll be done and dusted, finished politically. That is really what it is. Welcome to my show today, where we take a deeper look at that funeral service that was so political, so full of drama, and we try our best to learn as much as possible from what unfolded. Karibuni sana, twende kazi. Some politicians at the funeral made prior arrangements so that their names would be called out. I'm sure they had a side meeting somewhere. And they said, since you'll not be given a chance to speak, I am going to mention your name. And then you stand up and wave at the people. And then meanwhile, we know that your supporters are somewhere. They will scream your name. Everybody at the funeral and well beyond will know that wewe ni mzito wa siasa. Other politicians from outside the region made arrangements for their name to be mentioned, so that they're prominent at the function. And then also to highlight their past relationship with the late Raila Amolo Odinga. And then yet other politicians arrived for the function late. The oldest trick in the book, and actually it's getting very boring. The newly elected, or is it selected, Member of Parliament for Kasipul, Boyd Were, arrived late with a bunch of goons and completely disrupted the ongoing funeral ceremony. It really distresses me these days that more and more humans are very self-centered. They never stop to think about other people. They never stop to think about anybody else except themselves. Because remember, this is a funeral. People are mourning, those who are close to the late. And then people decide to come and disrupt the function. Others decide to use the function, to gain political points. What is wrong with the human race? What has gone wrong with the human race? Now, I am not sure, actually I don't know, if a politician called Babu Owino and another politician called Kalonzo Musyoka realize the following. It is not possible to inherit Raila Odinga's voting base. It is impossible. Okay? You can't just do 1, 2, 3 and inherit the entire voting bloc that has faithfully voted for Raila all these years. You can't. There is no way. Although what you can do is take a tiny niche within the late Raila's voting bloc and then build on that with the intent of building your own voting bloc. There are no shortcuts here. Actually, in politics, apart from rigging, stealing an election, which to me is not an option, there are no shortcuts. Hakuna. So, what people did for Babu Owino and what people did for Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and you will not convince me that these were not pre-arranged. Okay? That's not how politics works. And so what they did told us a lot, including the fact that there are politicians who want to cash in on the name of Beryl Odinga when he's no longer here. And then there was the interim party leader of ODM, Raila's brother, Beryl Odinga, who gave a speech. Okay? But as we have agreed since the beginning of this video, it is not what politicians say, it is what they do. But let us also agree that sometimes they can be doing something in what they say. Okay? And that is precisely what Beryl Odinga did. He could not resist throwing jabs at anybody who wanted to say that at a future date, ODM members will sit down na wajipange, they reorganize. Clearly those voices saying that are irritating Oburu, and with good reason, because what they are saying is that Oburu is a passing cloud, is almost irrelevant, and therefore the real action will start when people sit down to talk. Okay? Now, what did Mama Ida Odinga, widow of the legendary politician Raila, what did she do at this funeral? Well, one very telling thing she did was that she stood up and managed to calm a very rowdy section of the mourners. That incident cannot be ignored by any serious political analyst. Why? Because it told us a lot about Ida Odinga's standing amongst the ODM fraternity. She is respected. She commands authority. She did not tell them to keep quiet, politely. She told them off. We are not interested in your politics, she said. And actually, while we're still talking about the rowdy sections of that crowd at the late Beryl Odinga's funeral, it is worth noting that another politician who in my opinion is in trouble right now, Gladys Wanga, and her handlers, had to hire people with the main objective of shouting louder than the heckling which Wanga knew she was going to receive at that funeral. You see, it is very clear she is very unpopular. And I believe one of the reasons is her closeness to President William Samoei Ruto. Now this is super fascinating. Imagine that. A lot of money was spent at this funeral. A lot of political money to do political things. Very fascinating. And it is well worth noting that some of the things which were being done were short term. What do I mean? They were supposed to impress the head of state so that he still has faith in certain politicians, that they're still popular on the ground and that they can still deliver. Because those close to the president know that the president is desperately all the time looking for people who are popular, to push his candidature in the next presidential elections. And what that means is that he has no time for people who don't have a following. And so obviously if it looks like your support base is vanishing, pop, he has no more interest in you. Wewe nae kwisha maneno. Because what is he going to do with you? He needs somebody to help his cause. and you're not in a position to. Therefore, take a walk. That is what a lot of politicians at this function were fearing, and went out of the way to ensure that they keep up a perception that they are still popular with the people. And you can be sure that others who are not yet close to the president were doing the same thing, so as to attract the attention of the president, so that he pushes these individuals closer to himself. Yeah, of course, for immediate financial gain. Okay? That is how politics runs in Kenya. I'm afraid that is the truth. And then Ida Odinga, after telling off a section of the mourners, "We are not interested in your politics here," she said. After doing that, in her speech she did something very political. What is this? She dropped a small piece of information without elaborating. And this piece of information is explosive. This is a very powerful, effective political play, where you leave people guessing, yeah, but then you meet your objectives very quickly. Ida Odinga said that people should leave the family alone, give them time to complete their mourning, yeah, and they should not, pay careful attention to these words, and they should not push the family to do certain things. Now, who are these people? What are they pushing the family to do within the ODM party? I think it is very easy to guess what these people are pushing the family to do. It is more than obvious they are pushing the family to draw closer to the broad-based government arrangement, and to embrace it, and to agree that Raila wanted it to go beyond 2027. When the late Raila is on record as having said that arrangement ends before the next general elections. Raila said that. It was widely covered by the media. Okay? Right. Let's put all this together and come to some earth-shattering conclusions. Right now, as we speak, within the ODM party, the most powerful force that is going to direct the future of this party, that is going to be most influential in what happens within ODM going forward, is Ida Odinga. That was very clear at the funeral. She commands respect. She commands authority. It is very clear that most of Raila Odinga's fanatical support is with Ida Odinga. At least at the moment. That is the reality. It also became crystal clear to me, yeah, that there's a lot of friction within the larger Odinga family. But the immediate family of Raila Odinga are very united, very focused, and clearly they have a plan. This is not a situation where the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. No. They're operating in perfect coordination, yeah, following the choreographed script to the letter. And in my opinion, it will be very, very difficult to stop that combination of Ida Odinga and Winnie Odinga as a political force within ODM. It will be very difficult to stop these two. Okay? And so the make money quickly faction within ODM, the one supporting broad-based and promoting it, that faction is in trouble. Clearly. And it was also clear to me that this powerful Ida Winnie force is very rapidly recruiting other like-minded politicians around them. And I don't believe for 1 minute that they're doing that for nothing. That they're doing that for the decor, interior decor. No way. They have a plan. You know, I believe one of the politicians very deep in their camp already is a very popular Nairobi Senator, Edwin Sifuna. It will be more than interesting to see how this battle of battles develops in the days and weeks to come. You can be sure of one thing. It is going to be action-packed. Something is bound to be happening every other day, every week. Yeah, going forward. Now a quick reminder, when the season for gifting yours truly, Kumekucha Chris, I appreciate those who have already participated, and I look forward to those who are still on the way. Asanteni sana. May the Most High bless you abundantly. All for a better Kenya. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.